teammates. But I think before I introduce him, I'm going to tell you a little personal story, which is that not everybody knows this, but I am a triathlete. Oh, yes. Now, I'm not a very good triathlete, and one of the reasons I'm not, there's many reasons, but the main reason I'm not a very good triathlete is I'm shit scared of falling off. So what happens if it's a hilly triathlon, I end up sort of clinging on like this, applying the brakes, and as a result, I don't have a very competitive cycle leg. So I'm very average at triathlons, and the person I'm just about to introduce is an Ironman. And for anybody who doesn't know what Ironman event is, it's a 4K swim, a 180K bike, and then you bust out a marathon. So this gentleman is a triathlete, I'm an Ironman, and I'm going to, no, the other way around. I'm a triathlete, he's an Ironman, and he's going to tell his story because it's incredible. Please welcome on stage Niels Esmeijer.
Wow. It's quite the introduction, Lucy. Thank you very much. Well, as Lucy mentioned, I was once a seasoned Ironman until about 2 years ago, and my life took quite a turn, and I want to take you back to that moment. It was a sunny morning, I think just like the one we're having today, and I was slowly waking up from a deep sleep, and I had this huge headache. I felt I had a rough night the night prior, like drinking a bottle of tequila all by myself. And I was trying to look around the room to see where I was, but I found myself forced to stare at the ceiling. I was unable to move my neck. And I was trying to move my left arm, but no movement. Right arm, no movement. I was like, wow, this is the worst hangover ever. But then at that point in time, doctors started entering the room, and things slowly started to make sense to me. I was racing, or as a training for my next Ironman event, and while doing so, I was racing a bike race in the French Alps. And while descending, one of the brakes of my bike malfunctioned. I missed a hairpin, and I fell 50 meters down into a ravine. So the doctors mentioned I was very lucky to have survived, but I broke my neck and my back in several places, breaking my fall. They had to do some pretty intense surgery and put several metal plates and pins in my body just to prevent me from falling apart. So instead of leaving France with the intention of racing my next Ironman, I actually left France as a broken man full of pieces of iron. But no one likes hospitals. No one likes hospitals. But being surrounded on the intensive care by people, and especially kids, that were in much worse conditions than I was, I think that gives you a sense of perspective. I knew that, recovery would be rough, but I think just comparing myself to those, easy peasy. And although I had this new body full of iron, I was no Robert Downey Jr., I had no superhuman strength, couldn't fly. The doctors told me that I should be very, very happy if I would just be able to live a normal life again, would not be able to race at the level that I was used to. But although it was hard to accept, for me there was no other option than at least try to get back to the level I was. So, I think in true Nike fashion, started setting, big, bold, audacious goals. First one being sitting. It took me a day or two, but I managed to sit, and I'm still pretty good at it, to be honest. I went from sitting to standing to walking, and was finally able to run again after a couple of months. I just felt this, little boy in me live up again, this insane, I think the feeling we've all had when you go out for a run, this joy and freedom you have inside of you. And I think for me, that was also the confirmation that I still really needed sports in my life. But, recovery is not easy. I can be honest with you, it sucks. It hurts. A lot. All the time. But, I could not have done this without amazing support. Of course, from doctors, from my family, from friends, from a lot of teammates here in the room, but especially from my wife, Anne Will. For moments, it was tougher for her than it was for me. And I gotta be honest with you guys. I think, for me, it's a surprise that she's still with me after all of this. She still loves me. She had to take care of me 24/7. feeding me, getting me dressed. Yeah, I see you guys wonder. She even had to wipe my asterisks after. True love, what can I say? And she's also the smart one in our relationship. And after this, she urged me to take it easier on my body and listen to my body better. I think, all of us, we walk past the employee store and we see that quote from Bill Bauman, rest is as important to success as exercise. I always thought he was a smart dude, but now I really, really understand what he meant with that. I think for me that was especially true in the first couple of months because my head took quite a beating in the crash as well. And although, a couple people that went to fancy universities did some tests on my brains and concluded that nothing's wrong with it, I think a lot of people, and I think some of my direct colleagues in the room, tend to disagree with that and feel that I'm talking way more BS now than I did before my accident. But I think what it comes down to for me is this. Recovery, it all starts with attitude and with perspective. Although, I gotta be honest, I'm really proud of my recovery, but I don't feel I did anything special. I think for me it was just the same I always do. You just show up, you be positive, and you work your ass off. So exactly 1 year after my bike crash, I raced the same race again. Luckily not crashing, crushing it. And I'm back racing triathlon, as you can see, at a level that I never thought I could have achieved. I'm even stronger and faster than it was before my accident, breaking my own times, winning races again. So, long story, a lot of learnings, but if I take one away from this, it's, you can break some bones, but never your spirit. Thank you.